everybody, it's Kathy Champion and you're back with me in my craft brain. So today we're going to work on this Magnolia. I think I showed this to y'all when I showed you the products that I got for free for signing up with Stampin' Up. And this was the one that sorry about the frog in my throat. This is the one that I chose as my absolutely free, outside the box of my amount of product that I could pick for my kit. This was just a freebie, and it's a 2-part stamp set. You get this large Magnolia, a leaf, a thanks, a hello, and then here you get some sentiments, the smaller Magnolia bud, and this little flourish, which is absolutely gorgeous. So what I wanted to do, and I thought this would be a good thing to try, I'm going to stamp this on this piece of paper. This is a watercolor paper because I was looking for something that had a little substance to it. I want to be able to heat emboss this, so I'm going to ink this up really good with my VersaFine Onyx Black, and then I'm going to heat emboss this with Brutus Monroe's Raven embossing powder. I want to keep the integrity of my lines as I color this, and I thought this would be a good way to do that. So I'm using a stamp press. I have the stamp press in my store. If you're interested in picking up one, it's nice because you can put this down over your paper, get it positioned exactly where you want it, and then press it down. And I'm really going to put some pressure on this because we're dealing with watercolor paper that might not be the easiest to stamp on, and I really want this to be a good image. If this doesn't work, I may turn this over and put it in my MISTI and we'll do it there, but let's hope this works. Absolutely beautiful. Now I need to move fast because I don't want my ink to dry. I've got my embossing powder, my coffee filter, and my wet ink, hopefully. So I'm going to start right there. I'm going to come over here and I'm going to hold it this way and see if I can get a good amount of that embossing powder in the middle. And then I'm going to tap this off into my coffee filter just like that. Don't worry about if you get some on your counter. You can actually scoop that off. Now if you get some where you don't want it, just take a little paintbrush and just go in. Don't touch your lines because you don't want to disturb your lines, but you can just clean that off. I did not use my embossing buddy, and I probably should have. My little powder tool. So I'm just going to try to clean this off as best I can. Now I'm going to tap it over the trash can a little bit. Okay. And now I'm going to pour this back in, and then we're going to try to clean this little bit up that's on my glass mat. You don't use a lot of your embossing powder. That's why when you invest into okay, so what we're going to do now is, since I got the embossing powder on it, I'm just going to take my embossing tool and I'm going to heat it up, and then we're going to take this 2D image, and you can watch it as it changes from a matte texture to a very shiny texture. So you want to do it behind as well as on front, and you will see as that embossing powder starts to melt how pretty it gets. Once you get that nice sheen on it, you will know that your embossing powder has melted. And now this will help us keep the integrity of our lines when we color this. Okay, so I want to show you up close what a pretty sheen that we have on this. If you look, you can see that this embossing powder has melted, and we have this nice smooth surface, and it is absolutely beautiful. So I'm going to pick out some colors and I'll be right back. Okay, we're back, and I decided to go ahead and color this off camera because sometimes the coloring, it can take a little bit. So I just went ahead, but I wanted to show you the colors that I used. For my Magnolia Blossom, I used 475 and 473, and for my leaves, I used 413 and 415. And these are your woodland greens. And I thought these turned out beautiful. I thought the Magnolia looks really good in these colors. So, but you know, it's your Magnolia. You could make it any color that you wanted. So experiment if you have this stamp, or if you would like to get the stamp. Like I said, I am a Stampin' Up! Rep or demonstrator, and I will be more than glad to provide you with the information you need. You can either email me or you can follow the instructions below this video in the description. You might have to click the drop down that says show more, but once you do that you will see my information. Or like I said, you can email me and I'll be more than glad to walk you through. But this Magnolia I think is absolutely stunning. So what I want to do now is I'm going to fussy cut this. I want to get a nice close cut on it, and remember, this is watercolor paper. Even though we didn't use watercolors, I wanted a good substantial weight paper. So I'm just going to go around these leaves. And I'm going to come back and trim closer. Right now I just basically want to get it out of this heavyweight cardstock, because it's hard to make your corners and your turns when it's this heavy. So I'm just going to do more or less like a bubble around it. And once we get it cut down, easier to handle, then we can go in and trim this out, you know, like it should be. You know, just getting that much off can make the world of difference. So let's go back and go ahead and start trimming this. And if you remember, whenever you're fussy cutting, if you keep your scissors to an angle and draw out the paper, not the scissors, and that will definitely help you perfect your fussy cutting. So turn your paper, not your scissors. And you know, if you don't get a perfect place, don't worry about it. You can come back and clean that up, but just keep going. That's the important thing, is just to keep going. I know some of you said that you hate fussy cutting. I know some people absolutely love it. They find it very relaxing. And I've told y'all this before. I didn't always embrace fussy cutting, but I've gotten to the point now where I really don't mind it at all. So I will find myself sitting and really enjoy fussy cutting. Sometimes it's my quiet time. It can be my prayer time. Not exactly today, because I am talking with all of you, but sometimes I just use this time to talk to God and tell Him about what's going on in my life, like He don't already know. But I think He enjoys hearing from us. It's so hard to believe that we are right around the corner from March. It just seems like the winter has just really gone by fast. And we haven't had a lot of winter. We got a few, you know, little cold snaps, but a couple days and it would rebound back and be nice and warm again. So they're expecting the bottom to drop out again here, because we are we've been under a very rainy period of time. And when this front comes through, I think behind it, it's going to be some Arctic air. And I know you folks that are from the Midwest and the the Northwest probably laugh when I say that. Because, I mean, I'm in North Carolina. It's definitely the South. So, but like I've told you before, it's all what you get used to. And I just don't really care for the really cold weather. I'm just cutting down in here as close as I can. What I'm planning on doing is popping this up. And I'll tell you what, heat embossing this with the black onyx was definitely the way to go. We did not lose the integrity of our lines and our ink and our leaves and around the edges. And this is exactly what I was wanting to do. So, you know, don't be afraid to pull out those embossing powders, even if you're not really, you don't feel like you need to emboss it because it's just a stamped image. It never hurts. It never ever hurts to, you know, throw an extra technique in there. Now this is where it can get tricky because we're going all the way down into that little groove right there. That's not going to leave a whole lot for this leaf to live on, but it's okay. We're going to get it. Now I'm going to go in this way. This is a little bit harder way to go in because your scissors are on the wrong side of your image, but that's okay. Just almost there. I'm going to snip there, and then I'm going to come back over on this side and snip because I really want to get that out as close in there as I can. Now let's see if we can put that out. That worked. Now we're going to go back around on this side and we'll have this Magnolia completely cut out. Now remember, like I said, this is watercolor paper, so it's not cutting as easy as cardstock would, but I wanted the texture of this because I wanted it to feel substantial. Now I'm just going to come back in here and clean this up a little bit. Maybe a little bit right here. And then a little bit right here. Yeah, if you get those little pieces you can't get out, you can always grab your tweezers and just give them a gentle tug. Usually I can grab it with my fingernail. Okay, I think I haven't got as much of the white off as I would like. So I'm going to go back in and just turn this down a little bit more. And I think I'm pleased with that. So once you get it trimmed out that you you like it, you can live with that, then you can call it done. I'm going to lay that little piece of watercolor cardstock back up there because I think that can be something I can use again. So let me see if I can pick up as much of my scraps and throw them away. And I'll get my little, I have a lot of little pieces here, so I'm going to vacuum that up using my little ladybug. Picked out some colors that I don't think you would normally pick out to go, but I love this pink, and this is the Brutus Monroe Rouge. I do have this in my store, and I cut this at 8.5 by 5.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4. So that is all ready. I also cut a white matte that I want to matte on top of here. Just like that. But before we mat that, I also have this piece of orange and white polka dot. This is a really nice heavyweight cardstock. It almost feels like it's double. It's so thick. And Donna Satterley sent me this in some Happy Mail. And y'all know I love polka dots. I don't care what color they are. Polka dots are just they're my thing. So I'm going to put that on there just like that. And I'll get some art glitter glue on the back of this. And I'm going to just glue this . For whatever reason, I'm having difficulty getting this on here. I feel a little bit shaky this morning. I don't know if my blood sugar has dropped or what, but I do feel a little bit shaky, so I'm going to blame it on that. Okay, I think that's good. I am going to take my bone folder because it took me a little while to get that glued down or put where I wanted it. So just to make sure the glue hadn't started to dry, I'm just going to go over it with my bone folder just like that because I want to make sure that piece doesn't come up. Now our focal point is going to be this beautiful Magnolia, and look how pretty it looks on that orange paper. So what I want to do for this is I want to give it some dimension, and I'm going to use some of this Brutus Monroe foam tape. I've got this huge roll, and I really do need to use it. It gives you a thicker dimension than most of the foam tapes. So if you don't like the extra stickiness of something, I would say steer clear of this because it is very sticky. Now I'm going to put my Magnolia down right about there, just like that. Isn't that gorgeous? I love the dimensions on that. So before we go any further, I need to get a sentiment, and I want to use one of the sentiments from, I've got actually 2 pairs. No, that didn't get bad. These are gooped up pretty bad. Look at that. Okay, I'm going to lay those over there so I'll remember to clean them. Let me look at my sentiments and see. we could do Thinking of You. I think the Thinking of You would be very pretty in a little oval right there. Let's see what it's going to look like. Let me see what kind of ovals I've got over here. So I want something pretty, but it's also got to work up there on the top. So I'm thinking maybe see if the smaller one will work. I think this one will work. Alright, let's try this and see what we come up with. I think I'm going to do it in white. And I really want just a plain piece of white. I am loving the fact that I've cut a lot of these white pieces to make them usable pieces. It does make it easy when I'm getting ready to cut a piece or whatever, that I can find exactly what I'm looking for without any problems whatsoever. So let's put this right here. And I'm going to grab this. I got my little platform right here. And I need my die cut plate. And we're going to run this through our die cut embossing machine. And that is really cute, and I think it's going to look really cute right here or here. So let's get a block to put that on, and we're going to ink him up. And I want to stamp this with the black Onyx, the VersaFine. So I'm going to ink this stamp up really good. I really feel like I need to stamp it off on something. So I'm going to use the other piece of this, and just to make sure I'm going to get a good image. Oh yeah, that looks really pretty. Yeah. Look at that, y'all. Got my fingers in ink already this morning. Okay, and get this right in front of me so I can make sure I stamp it in the center. I'm just going to leave even pressure on that for just a minute. And I think I want to pop that up too. Or do I? think I'm going to do this flat down. I was thinking dimensions, but I think I like this just flat down to the card. I love that. I think that's a very pretty card to send to anyone. Whether it's, you know, a thinking of you card could be inside wishing you get well wishes. It could be thinking of you because I miss you. It could be so many different things that you could put on the front of a thinking of you card, because all of us like to know that we are thought of and that we're cared about. So now I want to go ahead and get this adhered to my card base. Look how pretty that is. So I'm going to go ahead and just do my little swirlies around the outer edges of my card. And then I'm going to lay this on. And now all we need to do is mat the inside and stamp a little sentiment in there, and I think we can call this card done. I love the way it's turned out. I think that it's a very pretty card. And I do want to get a piece of white to mat on the inside. But before I go any further, I want to clean the stamp up, so I don't want it to be left on here and not cleaned. So I am going to go ahead and put my stamp back into here, and I'm thinking I might want to stamp one of these other sentiments on the inside. How about the little Magnolia blossom, and maybe this, and how about the sentiment that says the journey of life is best shared with a friend. We'll get through this together. Or thinking of you, not only for what you do, but for being someone so special. And I think I like that one. So let's peel this one off. And I think we're going to build the inside of our card with that sentiment. And let me grab another piece of white. I know white cardstock is noisy, but it's more or less the bag that I have this in. I may just have to cut a piece because I'm not seeing a piece. This is not your mama's cardstock, but I think that might work. And let's go ahead and cut this down. And we know we want this to be let's see, 4 inches by 5 1/4. So there's our 4-inch mark. And then we're going to do it 5 1/4. I don't think we're going to be able to use that because that would be great if I was doing a landscape card and we could put it like that, but we're not, so that one's not going to work. So let's see if we can do the Magnolia right here in the corner and that right there. I like that. So I am going to grab a bigger stamp block. Well, let's pick up this one first. And I'm going to want to ink that up. You have to be very careful to get that straight because anytime you're working with a longer sentiment, you will definitely see if it's crooked. So I'm hoping I got this as straight as possible. Oh, that looks really good. Okay, so now let's go ahead and load up our little Magnolia blossom. And I want that to just live right there in that corner, just like that. I think it will add, it kind of tie the front of the card in with this. I think it'll be super cute. Very, very cute. Alright, so I got a couple of stamps I need to scrub off. But I want to color that, so I'm just going to let this dry for a little bit. And I'm actually going to use my Tombows on this because I did stamp that in the VersaFine. And we all know that the VersaFine and alcohol markers do not get along good together, so we do not want to mix those two. Nice and clean. Now if you're looking for something good to clean your stamps with, I carry this in my store and it's the Brutus Monroe Squeaky Clean. You can't find anything better, I don't think, out there for the price to clean your stamps with. It is so wonderful to have something that cleans them so well, and it just about like restores them to when you first take them out of the package. Now it's not to say that some inks won't stain, because it will, but I love the way those clean up. Alright, I'm going to grab a couple of colors, and I think I'm going to go with my middle, about that color, and I want the leaves to be kind of a pale pink with maybe a little hair of peach. So these are the colors I've chosen, and let's see, we need a green for the leaf. So I am going to pick that green. And first color that I'm using, actually I don't think, yeah, maybe I'll do the outside edges of that. This is number 993. I think I need to get a sip of tea because I'm needing caffeine this morning, y'all. So let me use this as my little scrap piece to see what that's going to look like. Yeah, I think that'll be good. I'm just going to come in just like that. And I'm going to go ahead and grab the green and do my 2 leaves. If this green is rather dark, I might just put a little bit of this down and come back with a lighter green. I don't want my leaves to look like just a blob, so let's find a little bit lighter green. That's pretty dark too. Is a little bit bolder than what I want, but I think it'll work, especially with this darker. Now, y'all remember what I told you when you're using the Tombow. Just barely put your tip to the paper. That way you won't put down too much ink. And let's see, that color that I used was 245, so the greens was 177 and 245. Alright, that's over there. And I think I'm done with 993 because I just wanted to do that upper edge. Now I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in with this peach color, and this is 873. I'm just going to kind of outline it. Then we'll come back in with this paler pink. So that's barely color. I like that. I think it's very, very pretty. Kind of subtle, but nice. So, let's bring our card back over. Looks like I missed a little spot right up in there. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I think one reason I don't like to color on camera is I don't talk when I color. I need to have like quiet. Are any of you like that? If you are, let me know in the comments below. I don't know what it is, but I like when I color and fussy cut, it's just my quiet time. So I usually have a hard time carrying on a conversation with all of you, although it is kind of one-sided, isn't it? I didn't like I can interact with y'all right yet. But I am working up toward hopefully seeing that 1,000 subscribers, so my channel is starting to grow again, and I am so thankful for that. I want to be able to do lives for y'all, and until I can reach that 1,000, YouTube's new rulings won't allow me. So I'm kind of stuck at doing the recorded versions of my videos. Alright, I think we have this card completed and it's ready to sign and seal. Looks like I got a little bit of ink there, but I'm going to use my little sanding tool. And I got rid of that lickety split. This is it's like a mono eraser, but it's battery operated, and you have this little button here that you push that makes this spin, and it's almost like a little sandpaper eraser on the end of it. Works very much like the mono eraser, but again, like I said, it's just electric and it works really good. You saw how quick it took that little spot of ink off. So I love the way this card turned out. If anyone's interested in picking up the stamp set called Good Morning Magnolia, I will leave a link in the description and with instructions on how to get there. And I am planning on, I think, to go ahead and do the website. So once I get my website up where I can send it to you, then I think it would be great that you can actually just go and click on a link and go directly into my site. So hopefully stay tuned, hopefully that's coming soon. But until now, I will leave the information below on how you can get to my channel. And I hope y'all enjoyed this tutorial. I hope that you found some inspiration, and I hope you'll try something like this. Any large image, and pick out a color that you would not normally think to put together like that. And again, I made this card using Good Morning Magnolia, and I'm going to lay this right here. And these are the stamp sets. This is one stamp set and it has 10 pieces. So you get this beautiful big magnolia, you get the small leaf, you get a flourish, a small magnolia blossom, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentiments. So very, very versatile stamp set. So anyway, I hope y'all have a very blessed day. I hope that that you're able to be a blessing in someone else's life today. I hope that you can be an uplifting point to someone's life today. So show kindness, show love. It's so important because there's so many people that are right on the brink of suicide. You know, anger, loneliness. There's so many emotions that's running rampant. That's why we see all the horrible things that we see in the world today. It's mental health. People need to get back to feeling good about themselves and feeling good about who they are, and being able to show the love that they need to. And I'm really believing in order to do that, you have to work on yourself. So I pray for those people, and I pray that you would be an influence to someone today. And until we craft again, let everything you say and do bring glory to our Father in heaven. And I thank you so much for tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button. I love you and I appreciate it. Bye-bye.